I can't stand what I'm teaching. What do I do? We're going to talk about this today. My name is Dave Stuart Jr. I'm a high school teacher and the author of The Will to Learn. Let's go ahead and get into this common teacher hang-up. All right, so first of all, if you're teaching a subject or a unit or a course that you really just hate the material, you think it's dumb or wrong, that is something that you need to care about because one, you're miserable when you're doing something that you don't like to do, and two, your students are probably perceiving that you don't like it, and that is going to hurt your credibility with them because they're thinking, why should I value this, Mr. Stewart, when you don't value this? So this really is an important problem to deal with. It's not a minor thing to me, it's a very major thing. So I think that there's really two ways that you can come about not liking something that you're teaching. It can be either just personal distaste or it can be professional disagreement. Personal distaste would be things like, when I was teaching English 9, the first time I taught Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, I really got driven crazy by Bradbury's writing style. I thought it was way too overfilled, overdone with figurative language, and just personally, I found the book a bit laborious to teach our students. So that's like a personal distaste thing. It's not that I thought that the book was meritless. It's not that I didn't love the discussions and the papers that we wrote after reading the book. I did. It's just my personal taste wasn't really met there. Okay, so we're going to solve that one way. But the professional disagreement, that's where you just think that the way of doing something that you're being asked to do is just wrong. So this might be a science teacher who's teaching a traditional science course but wants to do something more phenomenon based. This could be a math teacher who's teaching a traditional math class but wants to do something that's more exploratory learning. This could be an English teacher who wants to have only choice reading but has to do a text-based course where you're reading whole class text. These are the types of things where people can really get their philosophical hackles raised up. And, it's something to really care about because if you keep doing something that you think is philosophically wrong, that's going to eventually take a toll on your soul. So let's treat each of these in turn. First of all, for the stuff that you just personally dislike, I recommend something called Gimme 10 Reasons It's Good. Gimme 10 Reasons It's Good is super simple. You sit down and you pretend that you have to come up with 10 reasons why what you are teaching is actually good. How is it interesting? How is it funny? How is it empowering? How is it beautiful? How is it relevant to student lives? Come up with any angles that you need to figure out how this thing is good. And your only job is to be creative here. You don't have to share this list with anyone. But the process of you coming up with these reasons is going to help shift you into having a better experience with the thing that you personally dislike. And I've come to like a lot of different topics in my courses over the years through this method, or just like areas of life that previously I was not interested in, but I became interested in because I wanted to pursue those things to get closer to people or to understand my students more. So I've gained a lot of appreciation for life through this Give Me 10 Reasons It's Good and expanded my personal taste. Okay, now for matters of professional disagreement, like I said, this one can be damaging if you just keep pounding your head against the wall, so to speak, and you don't deal with the fact that there's a philosophical difference between what you're doing and what you're being asked to do. So a couple of things that I think are important to do here before it's just quit your job and find something else to do. And really the first thing is to do your honest to goodness, earnest research on is your philosophical view truly what's best for students. Try to find the most intelligent naysayer to your philosophical perspective that you can find and give them a full hearing. Try to understand how other people view this matter that you're so firmly certain that you're correct on. So, I'm not going to point out any philosophies here, but I've definitely found it to be true that some of the philosophies I held to really firmly as an early career teacher, like for example, I used to think that choice reading was the only proper reading that kids should be doing. They were really intelligent, earnest, thoughtful people who were advocating for something different than that, and who were describing that that's actually has a lot of drawbacks to it that need to be taken into account. So I adopted an ability to see both sides of the aisle and actually move myself in that discussion. And just as a side benefit, getting outside of your own little echo chamber when it comes to teaching philosophy can really make the job so much more fun and interesting because you can start to realize that there are a few schools of thought, typically in any discipline, that have long traditions of advancing student outcomes toward mastery and thereby promoting long-term flourishing. These are some things you can do when you just don't like what you're teaching. I hope they've been at least a little bit helpful. You have a good rest of your day, colleague.